Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fit and fine and you all are safe. So here your English teacher is here with a new chapter of English subject, that is chapter number 8. And in this chapter we are going to learn about a beautiful poem, that is lines written in early spring. And the poet of this poem is William Wordsworth. So, students, the poet William Wordsworth was born in 1st April 1770 and he died in the year of 1850. He was an English poet. He wrote a number of poems on nature, and this is why he was often called a nature poet. Some of his most famous include are the Prelude, lines composed a few miles above Tintern Abbey, and the Solitary Reaper. He is one of the most famous poems writer, the poet, and one of his work is the lines written in early spring, and that is what we are going to discuss today in this video. So let's see what is written in this beautiful poem. Students, lines written in early spring is poet's meditation on the harmony of nature and on humanity's failure to follow nature's peaceful example. In the poem, the poet reclines in a lovely grove on a spring morning. The joy he presages in the natural world and his belief that his own soul is somehow intimately connected to that joy leads him to mourn what man has made of man. In other words, the cruelty of him, selfishness, and fighting that characterize humanity. The poem argues that while humans are part of this nature, they sure don't act like it. So without any further discussion, let's start the poem. I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in a grove I sat reclined. In that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Through primrose tufts in the green bower, the periwinkle trail its wreaths, and 'tis my fate that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? By William Wordsworth. So now let's go through each stanza. And in first stanza, the poet writes, I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in a grove I sat reclined, in the sweet mood when the pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. So here, the poet is giving us the sign that he is sitting in a grove and he heard 1,000 interwoven notes of bird song while he was sitting in a grove. What is grove? A group of trees, where he was enjoying the kind of mood in which happy thoughts reminded him of sad ones. Now, in the second stanza, he says that to her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Now he is describing about the nature connection with his soul, that nature connected his soul to all the beautiful creatures around him, like tree, flowers, bird, etc. And he felt terribly sad to the thought about what humanity has done of itself, how humans are behaving with the fellow human being, and that they are not enjoying the nature that one should be. Now, in the third stanza, he says that through primrose tufts in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. So in the whole poem, he have had described two flowers, primrose and periwinkle. In this stanza, he says that periwinkles grew through bunches of primroses under the green trees, and he believed that all flowers find enjoyment in the every air they breathe. So, bower is a very good, enjoyable, pleasant, shady area in a forest or a garden. And here, the poet wants to explain that how each and every flower is enjoying its breath, every second, every moment of its life, and how they are happy and in a joy mood. And he speaks of the link with which nature connects his own soul to the natural beauties all around him. So now, in fourth stanza, he writes about the birds. The birds around me hopped and played. Their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. So now he says that the birds around him are hopping, playing around him. He cannot know what they think, but to him it looked like all of their tiny movements gave them a shiver of pleasure. They are enjoying. They are also enjoying every moment of their life. They are being thankful to the Creator that He created them, and now they are hopping playfully, and they are also enjoying every moment of their life. So now, in fourth stanza is over, and let's go to the fifth stanza. And in this, the budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air. And I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. Here, the writer is talking about trees, that how the budding branches spread out like opening fans to catch the breeze, the air, the wind, the spring breeze, in spite of himself, that he have to believe that they were taking pleasure in their life too, that the flowers, the birds, the trees, they all are having all the pleasures of their life. They are enjoying everything they are having. And he just thinks that what all that he think is that the nature is enjoying its own pleasure of their life. And in the last stanza, that is the sixth one, he says that if this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? And in this last stanza, he says that if his belief in all this natural joy is heaven sent, and if all he have perceived here is a part of nature's divine holy plan, doesn't it make sense that he should be sad about what humanity has made of itself? Like every nature, every bit of nature is enjoying its pleasure of their life, the luxurious life they're having, and how man is reacting to all these creatures, how he is not enjoying every bit of his life, and why the man is acting with all the cruelty, selfishness, and not being kind to each other. So now students, this poem is the comparison between humanity and nature. Lines written in early spring presents nature as the spirit that moves every living thing. Nature unties, unites all the creatures of the landscape in a shared sense of joy, making them part of one big, delighted entity. But as the poet speaker soaks up the lovely groove around him, he finds cause not just for celebration, but for grief. Humanity, in his view, is indeed part of this natural splendor, but it sure hasn't been acting that way. Instead of following nature's example and existing in peace and harmony, people fight each other and destroy the natural environment in which they live. And in separating themselves from both the natural world and each other, the poem argues that human beings have lost their connection to the joy that is their birthright. Here, the poet personifies both the creatures he sees around him and nature itself, suggesting that they are all united in a single, joyful consciousness. In the groove where the speaker sits, twigs spread out their fan, flowers enjoying the air, and nature is conscious force with a holy plan. All of these entities seems to be feeling the same delight. Then why not the human, the man itself? The poet also uses images of interviewing and intertwining to suggest that everything in nature is connected. He hears 1,000 blended notes of bird song, sees the periwinkle growing through primrose tufts together, and speaks of the link with which nature connects his own soul to the natural beauties all around him. Not only is everything in nature inherently joyful, then, but everything also shares that joy, and that sharing is all part of the pleasure. Here, the humanity, meanwhile, fails to emulate nature's model of interconnectivity and joy. Though the poet feels that nature has made a link between the human soul and the natural world, he feels that humanity has betrayed that link. He twice laments by saying that what man has made of man, that how man is reacting, how man itself is behaving with himself and the nature, that he broke the connection between him and the nature. How humans have abused and rejected their unity with the world, breaking from nature's holy plan, that nature's plan is holy, also suggested that he feels humans have served not just emotional connection to nature, but a spiritual one too, a profound betrayal. While the speaker doesn't say outright what man has made of man, he doesn't need to, and that's the point. Even these simple words bring plenty of examples of painful human divisions to the reader's mind, that how man is behaving nowadays, with all the cruel actions he is showing towards the natural world, by cutting trees, by destroying natural habitats, and doing all that kind of stuff. Even these simple words bring plenty of examples of painful human divisions to the reader's mind, as I said, from war to poverty to plain old cruelty. Nature, in this poem's view, provides an example of interconnected, joyful harmony, a peaceful balance that every living thing takes part in. If human beings could just follow nature's example, they could share in that harmony too, judging by what man has made of man. This is much easier said than done. Now students, I hope you understood the main moral of this poem, that how nature is enjoying itself and how human is just continuing his selfishness and making himself betrayal, a part of the betrayal that he have done with the nature and what he is doing in today's world. So I hope you have reached the thoughts of poet's word that's written in this poem, and I hope that you me and everyone together, we can change the mindset of the humankind. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have had enjoyed it, and let's meet to our next session in the next video. Till then, take care of yourself.